Tonight's tale is called The Country Club. The Belleview Country Club was known for its exclusivity. It was a sanctuary for the wealthy and elite, a place where they could play together away from it all. It was nestled deep in the countryside, far from the city, almost remote. It was a place of pristine golf courses, sparkling pools, and elegant parties. Among its patrons were 5 individuals who had grown up together, members of the club since birth, each one more spoiled and entitled than the other. Julian was the ringleader, a charismatic and ruthless businessman who thrived on manipulation. He could charm anyone into doing anything. He was a 6'3" hunk of a man with a stereotypical look, the washboard abs, the chiseled jawline, you know. Victoria was the femme fatale, a glamorous socialite with a sadistic streak, her beauty hiding a heart of stone. Her fiery red hair made her stand out amongst a crowd. Mason was the enforcer, a hulking figure that had once been a star athlete before turning to a life of indulgence and violence. He had been divorced 3 times before his 30th birthday, with a list of arrests and charges. Elaine was the strategist, a former attorney whose sharp mind and icy demeanor made her the perfect planner. As long as the nanny had the children, she could be found at the country club bar with a martini in her hand. Oliver was the tech genius, a quiet, unassuming man who could hack into any system. He practically lived at the club, constantly monitoring the whole place. One warm summer evening, as the fireflies started emerging, the group lounged on the club's terrace, sipping expensive wine and puffing away on cigars. The conversation started normal enough. They discussed cryptocurrency, travel plans, and recent purchases, but soon everything turned dark, and the tone started to shift into something weird. Julian started hinting around about the recent frustrations he had with people and how they always got in his way. He felt that the neighborhood they lived in had grown too quickly, and he was angry about the club opening their doors to a newer crowd. Each friend agreed with Julian, stating their personal frustrations regarding the new crowd. Julian suggested that they take it upon themselves to thin the field by eliminating some of their competition. In a calm demeanor, he stated that they could have a hunt, a special way to weed through the herd, a weekly event until the population returns back to normal. He spoke about it in a light-hearted manner, as if it was no big deal. "Think about it," he said, his voice low and magnetic. "The ultimate game, a test of our skills, our wits, and our abilities. Something that'll bind us together forever." The others, intoxicated by the idea and the wine, eagerly agreed. Each friend had their own dark ways about them, and their love and loyalty to Julian made his suggestion a sure thing. They didn't have to wait long. A young man, lost and looking for directions, wandered onto the club grounds. Julian lured him in with a friendly smile and an offer of help. The first hunt was short and brutal. Mason overpowered the man with ease, his strength unmatched. Elaine directed the group, ensuring they left no evidence behind. Oliver recorded the entire event, his eyes gleaming with a disturbing fascination. Victoria delivered the final blow, her laughter echoing through the night as she watched the life drain from the victim's eyes. They continued for weeks, snatching unexpected people away from reality and sending them to their end. They had become full-blown addicted, and they thrived off the energy exchange with each and every one of their prey. One night, Elaine approached a woman in town who looked new. "Hello, I'm Elaine," she said to the woman, introducing herself. "I'm Lauren," the green-eyed beauty stated. "I'm in town on business." They chatted lightly before Elaine asked Lauren out for a drink. The question excited the woman, bringing a smile to her face. She quickly agreed, and the woman got into Elaine's car. Upon arriving at the country club, Lauren looked around in awe, almost starstruck by the elaborate structure and the well-laid-out land. They went to the bar and sipped away for hours on martinis and margaritas. Each of Elaine's friends joined them as they danced and sang their favorite songs. Around midnight, Julian snuck up behind the green-eyed woman as they laughed enchantingly on the bar stools. Within seconds, she was gone, left on the floor as the 5 friends danced around her lifeless body. They buried the green-eyed woman deep in the woods, confident in their invincibility, but arrogance was their downfall. An anonymous tip, perhaps from a guilt-ridden club member who had seen too much, led the police straight to them. Their trial was a media sensation, the gruesome details shocking even the most jaded reporters. Convicted and sentenced to life in prison, the group found themselves in a new kind of club. Prison life was harsh, but they quickly adapted. Due to their high status, they were placed in a low-security, practically co-ed facility. Julian's charisma won over inmates and guards alike, securing favors and forming alliances. Victoria used her beauty and cunning ways to manipulate those around her. Mason's physical prowess made him feared and respected in the prison. Elaine's legal knowledge and strategic mind helped them navigate the complex prison hierarchy, and Oliver's tech skills allowed them to communicate within the outside world and gain access to restricted areas. Together they formed a clique, their bond stronger than ever. The men's pod was next to the women's, which made mingling easy and unsupervised. They discussed their experiences and how they missed their hunts, but each had a low-key sense of pleasure from being incarcerated. They began to dream of more than just surviving the prison. They fantasized about controlling it. They saw their potential to turn the prison into their crime hub, a base of operations for their illicit activities. Their fantasies grew more sinister with each passing day. Julian envisioned a network of criminal enterprises, from drug trafficking to extortion, all run from within the prison walls. Victoria imagined the power she could wield over both inmates and guards. Mason looked forward to enforcing the rule with brutal efficiency. Elaine planned every detail, ensuring they left no loose ends behind, this time. And Oliver worked tirelessly to hack into the prison's security systems, laying the groundwork for their takeover. They were patient, biding their time, each day bringing them closer to their goal. Their influence grew, and the prison began to bend to their will. Before long, they had convinced the guards to allow them to hunt once more, but this time it was within the prison walls. They ran their hunts once a month. They worked together to make each hunt look like an accidental situation, and it worked for a long time. Years had passed, lives were lost, and their hunts continued. Until their 7th year of being locked up. Their power was unmatched up until then, but what they had failed to realize was that each one had a parole hearing that year, a chance for freedom. Each friend slowly began building their case for appeal, working with lawyers to regain their freedom and rejoin the outside world. Julian knew that each person had their own story about how the hunt started, whose idea it was, and which person they felt was most guilty. The thought of his friends possibly changing their tune about the country club hunts started consuming him. He knew they needed to stay away from the judge and keep their mouths shut. Each day leading up to the appeal date, Julian would question his so-called friends. He slowly started noticing that they were being secretive and quiet about what they were going to say. Julian had enough. He began demanding answers. "I am the leader," he shouted at Elaine and Oliver. "You answer to me," he screamed. Each friend knew that Julian could tell they had planned on telling their side of the truth that should have come out years ago, about Julian being the idea master and forming the group. And with his words, he confirmed it. He said it himself. He was the leader. Julian went back to his cell, but this time it was different. He truly felt a sense of confusion now, and he hated feeling left out. He knew he needed to do something. Something needed to happen quickly. He needed to go on a hunt of his own. Julian talked with his cellmate, and his cellmate was a breath of fresh air for Julian. He was excited to talk to Julian, excited to please him. He was basically in love with Julian, as they had been cellmates for 5 years. He had shared everything with him, and admired him fully. He knew the whole story about the hunts, and he knew Julian was feeling the pressure of an upcoming appeal. Julian stated he needed to get rid of his friends once and for all. He was planning a hunt. Well, 4 hunts to be exact. "Don't worry, Julian, I got you," his cellmate said, as they both went to sleep in their bunks. The following morning the alarm went off, alerting everyone to an emergency. The prison went into full lockdown mode. Julian's cellmate stood covered in blood, a large sharpened rod in his hand, and a smile on his face. Below him was Julian, bludgeoned and pierced, his body a messy, lifeless blob on the cold prison floor. And as we draw the curtains on this chilling tale, our hearts still racing and our minds haunted by the echoes of the unknown, remember that the darkness we've explored is but a glimpse into the abyss that dwells within us all. In the realm of the mysterious, we find both terror and fascination, and in these shadows, we confront the depths of human nature in the uncharted territories of the universe. Thank you to each and every creeper out there who takes their time to listen to my horrifying stories. Remember to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and X. And fear not, as we step back into the realm of the familiar. Let the shivers down your spine remind you that life's greatest mysteries are the ones that keep us awake at night, asking us to peer into the abyss and challenge the boundaries of our understanding. Until next time, dear listeners, may your dreams be undisturbed, and may you find solace in the light of day. Good night and sweet dreams, if you dare.